Hello, my name is Alaskar Demeshkier. I have a PhD in epidemiology from the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Tehran, and today we are going to discuss grid search method for joint point regression. There are several methods for fitting segmented lines in segmented regression, including Hudson's method and grid search. Hudson's method is appropriate when the model is made up of entirely linear FIs whose intersection points may be derived algebraically from beta 1 to beta r, for in such cases it can be programmed to be fully automatic and be relatively quick. However, it's not ideal if the user wishes to make inferences using likelihood methods. Grid search method is an alternative to Hudson's method, which was first introduced by Lehrman, and later other grid search-based approaches were introduced. In joint-point regression software, at the moment the grid search is the only available option. The Hudson's method was available in previous versions, however it had errors in its algorithm, so it is at the moment unable. The grid search method is the modeling approach used for fitting trend data with the segmented regression model in the Joinpoint software, which evaluates the grid of all possible joint points based on the locations defined using the specified constraints in the software. The grid search for each model calculates and compares the sums of squares to achieve the best fit. Grid search has three main constraints and one other option. The main constraints are the minimum number of observations from a join point to either end of the data, excluding first or last join point if it falls on an observation, the minimum number of observations between two join points, and the number of points to place between adjacent observed x values in the grid search. The other option which is available is minimum percentage points difference between consecutive APC segments. These options can be adjusted for identifying the location of join points in our models. The first option is used to adjust the distance of join points from the endpoints of our dataset. It is required to be between 1 and 9, however the default value is 2, so that join points cannot occur on the endpoints. However, if it is suspected that a trend deviates near the endpoints of the data, smaller values of this constraint should be specified. In this example, as you can see, for the visualization of this option, the minimum number of observations from a join point to either end was set at 2 by me, which means that there will be no join points placed between 0 and time point second and time point 8 to time point 10. So 2 time points from each side of the data sets are not allowed to be join points. However, in this dataset, as you can see, the scatter plot shows that between 9th observation and 10th observation, there is a sharp increase. In a situation like this, I would decrease the minimum number of distance from either side of the dataset to 1. This is one of the examples where it would be appropriate to decrease the value. A second option is used to specify the minimum number of observations between two join points, excluding any join point if it falls on an observation. This controls how near join points can be to other join points, and its values that we can set are from 1 to 9, but the default is 2. The observation that falls on a join point is not included in this count. In trends where the rate is changing frequently, smaller values may be chosen by the user to capture changes that happen in consecutive years. In trends where the rate is constant or should change only after a certain number of years, a larger value of this constraint can be chosen by the user. The number of join points to place between adjacent observed x values in the grid search is the third option. This allows join points to be identified between values or observations of the independent variable. The default value is 0. With the default value being 0, join points will occur precisely at observed time points rather than being between observations. This can be increased to 9, however it's not recommended to change the default value since a join point occurring between two observed time points may be misinterpreted, or could result in line segments with slopes and standard errors that cannot be estimated due to few time points between join points. The fourth option is minimum percentage points difference between consecutive APC segments, in short MADWD. This option is for situations where there are one or more pairs of segments where the difference in the annual percent change between some consecutive segments is deemed to be quite small. In these situations, the user may enter a minimum APC difference worth detecting as a minimum percentage point difference, which is shown with min PPD in the software. With this option, Joinpoint will start with the final selected model that was chosen using the specified analysis criteria and reduce the number of join points until all consecutive segments pass the specified mean PPT criteria. In this example, as you can see in the left chart, there were 3 segments. However, after implementing a mean PPT of 10%, which means that 10% is our cutoff point, and if the segment's difference is less than 10% with the previous segment, it will not count as a new segment. And this resulted in the right chart. As you can see, there is only one segment between 1989 to 2013. However, in the first one, there were 2. Due to the fact that APC was changed less than 10%, it did not fulfill our criteria. So it wasn't done, and these 2 segments were mixed into one. In Joinpoint trend analysis software, as you can see, after performing the analysis, in the top left window, as you can see, it will show which model was selected. Here, one join point was selected, and the model with 2 join points did not pass the criteria of the min PPD. That's why it has an alarm sign next to it, while the chosen model is shown with a star. These are the references that I have used for the preparation of this presentation. In order to access grid search settings after data entry, We will come to Method and Parameters tab, where the grid search options are available at the top, and we will choose the values that we want and press execute. Thank you for your attention. If you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I have created a playlist of videos similar to this one that you may like to check out. Thank you for your time.